So I'm Antz Rohan. I'm a volunteer with the Civil Defence New Zealand Response Team here in Otatahi, Christchurch, New Zealand. So we've been out here today just as our regular Saturday morning training. Went up to the Port Hills and we've been taking some of our newer recruits through some rope rescue training. So getting them to get confident with abseiling, accessing patients and stabilising them. Just basically some good excuse to have some fun on ropes, really. When I think about volunteering, I think I actually go back to like my early childhood. It was probably with Scouts. You know, it really kind of got us into the outdoors. There was a real sense of service and community to that. So in my later life, when it came to being at university and I was involved with youth charities, and then when I guess the opportunity to get involved with the Student Volunteer Army came up, it was just a natural thing to sort of say yes to and to get involved, especially as it was just quite I guess a citywide disaster. A lot of people were scrambling around wanting to do something, like a sense of helplessness. So during the earthquakes, we were sending out teams like maybe up to 1,000 volunteers a day, mostly students, on buses to the eastern suburbs, and they were doing, mostly it was clean up, so it was digging up silt, connecting with communities who had not seen anybody, so there'd been no sort of like response out that way. And so it was a lot of psychological first aid. Probably didn't know that's what it was at the time, but that's pretty much what was happening. With the Student Volunteer Army, it was really just like it was kind of like a 2-week thing. It was like, we spooled up, spontaneous volunteers all got together, and then once the initial sort of post-quake response had happened and it had handed over to, I guess, contractors and back to the council, etc., people just went back to their lives again, trying to rebuild where they'd been. And I guess I was looking for more of what more could I be doing in this space. I'd seen the New Zealand response teams had been deployed during the earthquakes, and I was quite interested in what they were doing. So I went along to an information session because they'd got a lot of exposure through the earthquakes, and I was hooked instantly. It was like, great, this is a way that I can learn new skills, create a real like team, family environment, and when there's the next disaster, then I've got some like real practical skills that I can help my community with. It's really cool because it's not the same thing week in, week out. It's and then trying to keep on top of those skills just really, really challenging and really good for keeping the mental challenge up. I think when the next earthquake happens, when the next natural disaster happens, and they have happened since, I think Christchurch is really well positioned when it comes to spontaneous volunteers because there's fundamentally like a culture of that now. I mean, we had university students and beyond volunteering like 11, 12 years ago, and they're now out there in the community, they're now leaders in their workplaces. You know, I think we've now kind of embedded a bit more of that culture of spontaneous volunteering. And we've also got young people that grew up, saw what the Volunteer Army was doing, and now they themselves are joining that club at university because they sort of saw all that good work. So I'm not just saying it was just the Volunteer Army, but I think in general there's a real culture of just getting stuff done. Like when the flag goes up, people want to pitch in and help. And we saw that with the Whāmi Army as well. You know, like it's not just students wanting to get out there. So I think we're really lucky here in Canterbury to have such a good culture and a good we talk about resilience and it's almost overused here in Christchurch, but I think we've got a really resilient community as well.